Welcome, gamers and holiday enthusiasts. In this video, we're going to head into a festive exploration of Santa Claus in the digital realm. From some of the most renowned gaming classics to the current games of today, we'll be diving into the pixelated world of video games to discover how the jolly old man in the red suit has made his mark. Here are 10 games where the man in red himself makes his jolly, and sometimes not so jolly appearance. Number 1. Phasmophobia. Considered one of the most terrifying and exciting games to come out back in 2020, this game has taken the horror genre by storm, and people could not get enough of it. It solidified its position in the horror genre when it decided to come out with the Cursed Possessions update. This introduced festive content, including this candy cane wielding Santa Claus apparition. Imagine seeing old jolly Saint Nick, except he's joined the ghosts of Christmas past, present, and future, and is now haunting players who seek him out. And judging by the looks of him, it seems that everyone is on the naughty list this year. One thing for sure, he's definitely not jolly. Number 2. Sam and Max, Ice Station Santa. The next on the list is the first episode of Season 2 of the gaming series Sam and Max. This 2007 rendition of the Sam and Max series starts with the not-so-family-friendly duo getting attacked by a giant robot assassin and eventually finding their way to the North Pole. They come into contact with the ghost of Christmas to learn about Santa being possessed by a demon, thus having to exorcise him in order to save Christmas. You'd think this is another wacky adventure that makes no sense whatsoever, which is perfect, because that is exactly the kind of ridiculousness you can look forward to when playing any of the Sam and Max games. Number 3. Fight of Gods. Have you ever thought if Santa could throw hands? Well, if you ever played Fight of Gods, then you definitely don't want to be on his naughty list. The game first came out in 2017 and became quite the controversial hit, considering the fact that it got banned in both Singapore and Malaysia due to the religious content of watching certain deities just go at each other. Imagine, if you will, Santa Claus and Jesus Christ fought in a 2.5D fighting game with punishers, guards, specific movesets, and even finishers that are relevant to each character's mythos. Santa, weirdly enough, is a rather versatile character and is an excellent choice if you want to play the game. And who knows, maybe making Santa your main might put you on his nice list. Number 4. Clayfighter 63 and a third. Speaking of fighting games, Santa Claus was also a playable character in 1997's Clayfighter 63 and a third. Now, this game isn't the greatest, and frankly speaking, it's possibly one of the worst fighting games in existence due to its clunky gameplay, poor choice in animation, and its incredibly buggy AI. As Sumo Santa, he is seen as a wrestler/grappler fighting type character that has taken over the North Pole and wears very little, using his mask to his advantage. I wouldn't recommend this game unless you really wanted to play what might essentially be a cursed game. Also, I think Christmas might be ruined for a lot of you, seeing Santa with barely any clothes on. Number 5. Gex 3, Deep Cover Gecko. Next up, we return to one of the 1999 classics. Gex 3 Deep Cover Gecko is the third installment of Gex, a badass gecko who has the riz, or the charisma if you've been living off the internet, of Hugh Hefner, Leisure Suit Larry, and Conquer combined. In this game, Gex has to rescue his girl Extra from his arch nemesis, Rez, who Gex has fought in the past. Along his journey, Gex faces off against an evil Santa Claus with glowing red eyes, who uses presents as a weapon, all while fighting it out in the holiday broadcasting level. It's a relatively straightforward fight, but it can be a bit anxiety-inducing seeing Kris Kringle glaring at you the entire time, almost like he's gonna beat up Gex, and then when he's done, you're his next target. Evil Santa is creepy as f***. Number 6. Snatcher. This game is a tad bit different from our other entries. For starters, it is probably the oldest game on this list, as it came out in 1988. Now, by now you could tell I'm a sucker for the classics and retro games, but even this is fascinating. However, the story of this game is rather bleak in comparison to everything else so far. In a cyberpunk world, the majority of humans have been wiped out due to a catastrophic event, and now humans are being unalived and replaced by humanoid robots dubbed Snatchers. In one of the many encounters of the game, you actually meet up with Santa Claus. Well, not exactly. Rather, it's a man of Chinese descent who is dressed up as Santa Claus for reasons possibly unknown to even the player. And I'm not even sure why the game decided that the person who was wearing Santa's outfit had to be Chinese. It was 1988. It was a different time. And even though he might not be, spreading the holiday cheer, at least the visage of Santa Claus still exists in this dystopian future. Sadly, I don't think this makeshift Santa has anyone on their nice list in this game. Number 7. Shenmue. But it's not all lumps of coal, because we have a more jolly detour to another legendary classic, Shenmue, the first one specifically. From the year 1999, Sega's open-world fighting game has made its way to our consoles and our hearts. And the story began with the main man himself, Ryo Hazuki, on a quest to learn all that he can in the world of martial arts, so as to avenge his father's loss at the hands of Lan Di. During that adventure, one legend meets another, as Ryo meets Santa Claus. Well, not the real Santa Claus, but unlike our previous entry, he's a lot jollier. While walking through the streets, players could encounter Santa and have the delightful experience of him wishing them a Merry Christmas, followed by the perplexing experience of him telling them to buy certain foods in nearby places. It may not be the most traditional Christmas, but no one said that there was a right way to celebrate the holidays, right? Number 8. Saints Row 4: How the Saints Save Christmas. This title alone should be enough to make you worry. The Saints Row gaming franchise isn't exactly what you would think to associate with Christmas or Santa Claus, but it definitely gives Saints Row the green light to come up with the most wackiest of weapons. If there's anything that Saints Row is good at, is confusing the hell out of its players and somehow still be entertaining. In Saints Row 4: How the Saints Save Christmas, released in the year 2013, the player is given an important holiday mission: to save Santa and defeat an evil version of him known as Santa Claus, with a Z. It looks like a disgruntled male Santa Claus that shoplifted the store before he got fired, because he's got a nice fit, he's got that drip, and he speaks in some form of song that I myself am not too familiar with. Regardless, the Saints got their work cut out with this holiday hooligan. Number 9. Dead Rising 4. And it seems the disgruntled employee theme is ongoing, because in Dead Rising 4, which came out in 2016, Santa's also not so jolly in this one. Throughout the Dead Rising series, there's been a rise in unusual characters added to the mix, and Santa Claus is no exception. And to make matters worse, he's a boss character that you end up fighting, if you choose to. He's optional. Better known as Sadistic Claus, not so jolly Saint Nick is wielding an axe ready to chop the ever-living shit out of you, especially because he has experience doing so. As an actual former mall Santa, he lost his job due to the zombie outbreak and decided to take his job to the next level by stuffing his victims with presents. Not to mention, he also has elves thrown at you in between the fight, which kind of makes you forget about the whole zombie horde thing for a moment. And also, Claus himself isn't even a zombie. He's a whole human being throughout the entire boss fight. Makes you wonder how he even got here. Number 10. Kingdom Hearts 2. Last on the list is good old Jolly Saint Nick from the Halloween Town world in Kingdom Hearts 2. Sora, Donald, and Goofy return to this world to see a slight change in decor, as Jack Skellington has taken up the Christmas spirit after his venture into Christmas Town and meeting Santa Claus, which Jack confusingly refers to him as Sandy Claus. Sora and company, along with Jack and his beloved Sally, once again take the fight to Oogie Boogie to save Santa and the passion for both Halloween and Christmas. It does suck to hear though that Sora ended up on Santa's naughty list because Riku made him believe that Santa wasn't real. Wait a minute. So does that mean if you don't believe in Santa, you automatically get put on the naughty list? That doesn't seem fair. And also, Why does that sound rather familiar to some form of belief system? Huh. Well, that about wraps it up. From pixelated adventures to modern day escapades, Santa Claus has seemingly woven his way into the fabric of video games. Whether he's flying, battling, or delivering gifts with a digital flair, Santa continues to bring joy, and sometimes fear, to gamers all around the world. Thanks again for joining us on this festive journey through Santa's virtual exploits. If there are any other games that feature jolly old Saint Nick, leave a comment down below. Let me know where else you find him, because I'm pretty sure there's a whole bunch of others games that Santa's in. There has to be. The dude's basically a celebrity. Anyway, like and subscribe if you want to see more of my videos and want to spread that holiday cheer all around. And with that, I wish you all a pixel-perfect holiday season and a game-filled new year. Thanks for watching. Stay blessed and prosperous.